Hater victory lap. It's happening. Hence, the idea of buy the dip today or the 2025 dip. Maybe both. Maybe both. What's your holiday surprise? Well, I don't know. How about tax loss selling followed by a massive short squeeze, followed by a January full moon rally? That kind of feels like what we're doing. People are so disinterested that I literally saw a tweet yesterday where some guy's tracking the on-chain activity about how they extended the fake Sunday rally into the fake Monday rally, only to liquidate everyone, get everyone all excited, and then drop the market, making you feel even more discouraged and more disinterested than you probably already are, which I think at the end of the day is crazy. One thing we've learned this year is that the artificial intelligence build out, like we saw the artificial intelligence pump in equities, but we really don't have a good feel as to like how much there is to actually build. Like, isn't it funny how like when Google comes out with, its latest version, OpenAI pushes a button and out comes ChatGPT 5.2. Here's another question. Where is Bitcoin going to be when ChatGPT 7.0 comes out? Now, where did I get that from? Well, Sam Altman himself was talking about, hey, here's what happens in the world when ChatGPT 7 comes out and no one has to work. Now, of course, we listen to, we listen to Satan explain to us that, he used to like the idea of universal basic income, but he's really more into like universal basic ownership now, like give everyone OpenAI stock and just let them sit back and enjoy. And I'm like, you know what? Every time these guys open their mouth, all I can think about is Bitcoin. All I can think about are these things that Toby from the YouTube member area sends me going, hey, look at all these AI agent coins that went up 70% in the last 3 days. It's like happening. Like you go to CoinGecko, you just look at what's up 40, 50% that day. A lot of it is AI agent related. I came out with something for 6th Street Crypto, the number 2 coin that everybody needs to pay attention to. Hyperliquid was 1. What was 2? Virtuals, AI agents, Bitcoin, decentralization. Now you're like, Bill, I don't want to talk about decentralization. I'm wrecked and I don't want to hear it. Okay. Then you can bow down to your new master. Here's Larry Ellison from Oracle, who, has spent himself senseless buying all the American media to communicate whatever message he needs to communicate, as well as getting massively leveraged for, building all things AI. He has become the poster boy for the AI bubble. That's not there. He just bought too much other stuff, or he's just the bad apple in the group, whereas everyone else can't buy enough stuff. There isn't enough stuff, chips, hardware. I heard some guy talking about Cisco. I almost fell out of my chair. That's a 25-year-old tech stock. But everyone's got to build stuff because Sam Altman's got ChatGPT 7. Now you're like, wait a minute. What does this have to do with crypto? Well, it has everything to do with crypto. If AI is not a bubble, because everyone thinks it is, right? If AI is not a bubble, crypto is not dead. Everyone thinks crypto's dead. Everyone thinks the Bitcoin chart is broken. It is broken. But that's what everyone's looking at. Everybody is looking at what's broken and not what's working, right? In other words, everyone in crypto should be thinking, hey, what's the software product in the world that no one could copy? What's the social media platform? What's the anything that no one could copy and replicate? Bitcoin. You could fork it, but it's still not Bitcoin. It's not the Bitcoin network. And I would argue to a certain degree, you could say the same thing about Ethereum, which is another like cocktail party joke. It's like, hey, Merry Christmas. Want to hear a joke? Yeah, go ahead. Ethereum. Seriously. No one wants to talk about it. So when you post a headline like buy the dip, you're going to get some hate, right? Benjamin Cohen's doing a victory lap. Like, why did people get altcoins so wrong? I'd be happy to answer this question. People got altcoins wrong because people thought that when the administration changed and went crypto friendly, crypto was going to become an industry, right? RFKJ's original idea was to have AI and crypto be American dominating job creation industries or economic growth engines, either way. So how did that work out? Well, the lords of Silicon Valley got everything they wanted. Some of it motivated by economics, some of it by politics, right? Wall Street got everything it wanted, got deregulation and basically a wild speculative frenzy on Robinhood, pumping everything that they did over there. They all got what they wanted, and we didn't get what we wanted at all. Not at all. The strategic Bitcoin reserve is nothing more than gigantic infrastructure, literally, that they're going to use for the strategic reserve that's going to be made up of whatever Bitcoin you leave on an exchange. And then, to add to the disappointment, the Chinese and the Russians won a round, meaning they own gold and silver. Gold and silver are going up indiscriminately and are probably going to go up until a regulator or the Fed steps in. So what they own mooned, and then some foreign actor got into Binance's order book and broke the market. Some market maker had to liquidate all their Bitcoin and their entire inventory of altcoins, crushing the space, leading everybody to change their mind. When the simple fact of the matter is, we could actually rewind this whole year and go, okay, well, we don't want the government to moon our bags directly. We want them to moon our bags indirectly with their horrendous behavior. They're rolling over $9 trillion worth of debt. All of the banks, once this silver thing actually happens, if it happens, they're going to be in trouble. And there's no stopping what goes on in the bond markets without QE. There isn't. There's no stopping it. And if there's any kind of geopolitical event next year, you have a stock market hiccup, or you have one of these creeps get in trouble and go looking for a bailout, that's not going to be done by the Treasury. That's going to be done by the Fed. The Fed is going to stop their equities from going lower. So I understand that your trading view looks disgusting this morning. I just wanted to make sure you saw something more disgusting, frankly, that would lead you to the idea of a decentralized future in an AI-driven world that just won't stop. Even if, as we discussed yesterday, some of these larger stocks wind up hugely disappointing investors because of valuations and how much money they wildly spent on stuff, that's good. Because what they're doing to essentially Web3, which is another joke word, it's like, you could just rattle these things off like, hey, Ethereum, Uniswap, Chainlink, it's all joke. It is, but that's good. It's good that it's a joke, because the best time to get altcoins is when people have just thrown in the towel. Like, today is 2 days before Christmas. So first of all, Merry Christmas to everybody. Thank you to all of our members. Thank you to our viewers. Thank you to everybody who's tuning in on YouTube, on TikTok, on Twitter. Merry Christmas to you. Seriously. I wish you well. I will be there for you in 2026. So will Toby and the Eagle King. But what does being there for you mean? Does it mean talking about whatever events are going to happen in February? I mean, every Gann, everything that anybody plugs in has a problem in February. And we don't know what kind of problem it is. My money is geopolitical, kinetic, something like that. There are lots of choices. You know, silver going to 100 would probably blow up the whole system because you'd have a bank problem. Now, when these things occur, why are people, like, for example, not looking at XRP? Not just XRP, but XRP, Hedera, Stellar, and QNT. You're like, wow, Bill, that's boring. I'm like, well, you know, if these things are going to wind up on the rails of the stablecoin, layer one crypto ecosystem, I mean, how can Galaxy Digital be right about the proliferation of stablecoins and the American-made cryptos connected to banking system plumbing just die on the vine and just never go up again? In a way, it's the same thing with coins like SUI. Now, of course, the market loves its little jokes. Like the day after I go blasting, you know, investment bank or Galaxy Digital forecasts that, you know, privacy coins are going to have $100 billion market cap by the end of next year, that everybody's idea of fun is to smack privacy coins. But it's okay because they just smacked Monero into a huge LuxAlgo support zone. Good. Thank you. Thank you. And if they want to continue hitting it, well, you know, more power to them. It looks like, you know, they were washing out longs. They washed out shorts yesterday, and today they're washing out shorts. And someone's asking me, what about XRP price? Okay. Well, I mean, XRP should hold at 189. The thing that's really amazing about XRP, and I'm going to see if I can get this up on the board here. By the way, if you like screen sharing on short videos, let me know. This is the money flow index in XRP. Would you look, this red on red from LuxAlgo? That's people giving up. Like it is essentially, and it's still going on, it's just a gigantic give up trade where everybody goes, you know what? I'm done. I mean, it's all red candles here. It's straight down. Now, of course, XRP people are like, yeah, Bill, you know, tell me something I don't know. This is complete giving up. I can't use the C word. They don't like the C word. They're giving up. Now, when that happens, it looks awful. When that happens, the idea of buying the dip is absurd. It's absurd. I mean, even the guys that like Bitcoin are like, yeah, I'll buy some Bitcoin at, you know, 60. And maybe that's true. Maybe it's true. Or consider this. What would happen if all of a sudden, one day, you woke up and all the charts turned? Not gradually, but suddenly. All the broken charts got unbroken. I'm just saying. Like, how many people would want to buy at that point? Well, let's see. There's the ETF guys, the futures guys. You have the altcoin ETFs, you have the treasury companies. I've seen nothing but the future liquidation of Michael Saylor stuff. So what would happen in crypto theoretically if everyone had to turn themselves around? I mean, is this the end? How can it be the end when the only original software in the world is Bitcoin? And Galaxy Digital thinks the market cap of privacy coins is going from, I don't know, 20 billion to 100. You're going to 5x privacy coin market cap next year, seemingly after you liquidate 5 treasury companies. I mean, notice how they got to get a little, there always got to be a little hate. It's a hedge fund thing. It's okay. Right? We got to liquidate 5 Bitcoin treasury companies. Wow. Okay. Guess we're going to have a February to remember, or I don't know, maybe they're going to do it now. I kind of think this market hopefully stays glued to 88K. Some of the work we gave Patreon, that would be a nice number if they pinned it there throughout Christmas. However, you got to remember that the Orange Man made Christmas Eve and the day after Christmas federal holidays. So most people don't go to work. Nobody in the government has to go to work. So I'm wondering if that gives them Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and the day after Christmas to do these American holiday gotchas. And then, of course, there's New Year's Eve and New Year's Day for more gotchas. And we don't know when the tax loss selling stops. I thought it stopped yesterday, but the market obviously wants to give everybody another little check, right? Rostart says, thank you for the daily dose of hopium. I'm happy to provide hopium. I'm also trying to provide an alternative to this, because this cannot possibly be the future of humanity. This is not the future of humanity. This whole yeah, we'll give you OpenAI stock, and yeah, you can just look out the window and watch the robot, get in your car and go to your job or whatever. It's so interesting how they think. It's like, no, you can't have money. You have to have our stock. No money for you. They were in favor of universal basic income, okay, before they realized that they were God. First, they were afraid of the masses, and now ChatGPT 7 or 8, they're not worried about it. Because, I don't know. They'll build a bunker, and they may have Uncle Sugar's blessing to create it. Now, that's a negative view, but the hardware will never get caught up with the software. And if the hardware in AI doesn't get caught up with the software, then there has to be room for an alternative future to sprout up in the meantime. Gee, what alternative future could that possibly be? I'm guessing it's crypto. And I'm even willing to go with Solana. It's like Solana's got a lawsuit. Okay, so what? I realize that, and this is on like a Christmas theme. So this is current conditions, current economic conditions in America. This Black Monday, 1987, where, people were doing springboard diving outdoors in October. 9/11, the great financial crisis, cough, cold, and flu, and here we are. This is human sentiment as of now. So I was around for all 3 of these things, and we are now in a materially worse mood. Now, in case you're not upset at me enough, here's a ridiculous question. Is it really that bad? Is it? Did you go to the office and the cute person down the hallway is now a robot? Did that happen? No, it didn't. Can you shop at Costco? Yes, you don't like the prices, but you can shop there. Now, the job thing is a mess. I get it. It's a total mess, right? And it probably is uglier than COVID, because COVID, you understood why you're getting laid off, and now you don't. You're not being replaced by a machine. You're being replaced by companies that are using AI as an excuse to just let people go to see how lean they can do it. I think that is also a mirage. I mean, the labor market for young people is problematic. And I understand if you've lost your job, it does look like the end of the world. I just don't know that bearish sentiment should be as bearish as it is. You can still go ice skating. You can still buy your girlfriend a Christmas present, even if it's not a great one. And even if you can't buy your girlfriend a Christmas present, at least you can hold her hand and say Merry Christmas. I'm trying to paint a picture that even though there's all this negative stuff out there, is it as negative as wanting to abandon your humanity, Bitcoin, decentralized software, money, XRP, the thing you believe in? I mean, is it that bad? I don't think it is. And you know why? I can tell you why. Because everyone thinks AI is a bubble, right? We have two things. We have AI is a bubble and crypto is done and Bitcoin is going to 60. It's over, right? I mean, let's face it. The consensus in crypto, based on the price action, is that it's over. Okay. Well, I mean, we'll see how well the consensus does, right? I mean, even historical regime shifts look like bubbles right before they become real. Like, it's not a bubble if everyone says it's a bubble. If everyone says it's a bubble, it's going higher. Just like, everyone says that, the volatility in Bitcoin has been smoothed out by the ETFs. Yeah, right up until people start realizing that the only original software out there, let me say this again, the only original software out there for all you software providers, all these software providers that are over leveraged and messy. Okay, well, you know what? The only original form of software that can't be replicated is in crypto. Because even if ETH is expensive, you can't run the internet on some copied code. You can fork code, but, you're not going to make another Bitcoin. You're not going to make another Ethereum. You might be able to make a new privacy coin. And I know our antivirus guys are going to get on that, or they're on that now. I mean, $100 billion for privacy coin market cap, and both privacy instruments from antivirus trade at 1 million market cap. I mean, is it that bad? Apparently people think it's that bad. They think it's absolutely that bad. I mean, I see stories about, let's discuss yesterday's manipulated rally. Like, on-chain analysis has devolved into people finding the manipulation of the day. Meanwhile, back at the gold ranch, it's this new high after new high after new high. $4,500 now, waiting for silver. Gaseous Clay, good morning, and to all the Spartans from Patreon who have got 2 new pieces. Some unbelievable Gann work. Gann had the 100-year cycle. The 100-year cycle. That goes back to 1926. That was the year his famous book, A Tunnel Through the Air, was written. All right. Lots of things about 1926 and 1906 and 1936, 1946 and 1976. Now featured in Patreon Platinum. History repeats itself. Will history repeat? Oh, yeah, you bet it will. You bet it will. And it's going to be a big shock when everybody who is drinking whatever bubble, it's over Kool-Aid, or everybody who's too afraid to say that they like it. In other words, investment banks are like, oh, yeah, Bitcoin's going to 250 and privacy coins are going to be worth $100 billion, but we got to liquidate some treasury companies first. Somebody always gets liquidated. I kind of vote for Larry. That's who I vote to get liquidated, but, not Tom Lee. It's so funny in crypto, right? No one ever says anything about guys like Larry, but everybody wants to liquidate Tom Lee and Michael Saylor. Tom Lee and Michael Saylor are heroes. They're like, hey, don't be afraid. Follow me. Yeah, okay. Money is involved. They want to get rich and famous. Yeah, okay. But they're still out there, right? They're out there saying, hey, this is what I believe in. Even though it's their money, money's on the line, and I get it. But they all have enough money. They're out there. They have to be out there because they believe in it. Because you can't be out there every day and be credible if you don't believe it. Even when you're getting egg all over your face. Because anybody who liked altcoins, anybody who thought Bitcoin was going higher in the fourth quarter has egg all over their face. And it's hard to get on the air. And you know what? I just decided, okay, it's bad. But is it really that bad? Is it like twice as bad as it was in 1987 after that crash? Well, you don't know. You weren't there. But I'm telling you right now, it's not. It's not. Even if your bags are down 80%. I mean, that literally felt like the end of the world. Now, you may see something in 2026 that may introduce something that looks like the end of the world, but that'll be just the beginning for Bitcoin and crypto. Moon Sector 7. Thanks for sharing your expertise born out of having decades worth of experience in markets. Partly why your channel stands out. From Moon Sector 7 with the Spartan kernel emojis, having been here for a year. Many things you get in the YouTube member area. Toby Ward coming up today or tomorrow. YouTube member podcast. The shock of 2026. What is out there? The shock of 2025 was that, we were all on the vapors in the beginning of the year, and that turned out terrible. Now it's the opposite. We're all depressed. We're all scared. And then the second this market or this world gives you something to be scared of, this thing's going to go whoop, gone. So the only question is, what does that freak out reaction look like? I mean, people are twitchy with the market down 1%. My attitude at this point is, if Bitcoin either holds 80, 88, or if it does go down to like 82 and doesn't wick to 70, I'll be happy. That's how low the TA bar is these days. I was hoping for 88 to 98 range. Doesn't look like they're interested. Looks like they're interested in $100 silver is what they're interested in. Right? And also, I think it's reasonable. It's reasonable to start talking about kinetic geopolitical events. Silver breaking 70 now as we speak. Right? I mean, just, okay. So taking a Kool-Aid, putting it down. Let's think about what the real risks are. We're obviously taking somebody's oil tankers in Venezuela. So, that only leads in one direction. We're actively talking about Greenland. Now, I happen to know a thing or two about Greenland, about water and what they got up there. They say they don't want it for the minerals. I think they want it for the water. Because supposedly Skynet Incorporated used more water this year than the bottled water industry. I can't believe that, but that's at least something that got floated on Twitter. They need the resources. And then, there's all this unfinished business over, I don't know, I guess you could say in the middle of the East, maybe. They want to fight again. And everybody who thinks, oil can't go up probably needs to recompute that too. Because I don't think it really makes much sense that you can buy, 1.2 barrels of oil with 1 ounce of silver. That's unbelievable. I mean, if you really have like a dollar debasement kind of thing going on here, Oil should be higher. And, I'm sure the oil market has fundamentals, but I'm just kind of wondering what happens, with oil if we start building things the way we need to build them. Seems like, there's a lot of FOMO into precious metals without anybody really asking why. Again, the lack of curiosity in crypto is unbelievable. I mean, TikTok's not like the old days because I don't think they like me anymore, but I got a video called the Silver Black Swan. Every time silver goes up, it gets like 10,000 more views. Right? I mean, everybody is trying to figure out silver. Everyone's trying to figure out precious metals. Precious metals are a fear trade that eventually brings in a massive central bank response. Now, is it kinetic conflict? Is it the Bank of Japan? Is it sterling? Is it a European problem? In other words, is everybody looking at Japan and the problem is actually over here in England? Going to be doing a show later with Crypto Princess. I won't say that on her show. She's really nice from London, but I do a panel discussion with a really smart chart guy. Kind of reminds me of the old days with Crypto Keep. That's going to be at 10:40 Eastern, by the way. But this fear trade is incessant. Now, we don't look at that because we're too busy looking at our own fear trade, which is that, our bag's on a soft trajectory to zero. But clearly, if you look at the market, right, like stonks are barely moving. Stonks are maybe down a little. Somebody is freaked out about something in legacy. Stock market volatility, no one's afraid. There's our level of fear about our bags, but there's no curiosity as to what's going on in silver and gold. And the thing is, when you find out what happens when silver and gold, then, I can show you my massive book reports and backlog of things and videos that are going to be going in the YouTube member area and Patreon. Because I know exactly what's going on here. There is going to be a central bank response to whatever you're looking at. You look at your trading view right now, whatever is going on there, that is going to bring in a central bank response. You cannot have silver at 100 without a bank blowing up. Now, of course, the Chinese, the Russians, all these people that are long precious metals, oh, well, yeah, they're just going to keep pushing it. They elected the orange man for the golden age, and what we actually got was revenge of the communists. That's what we got. Because, that's who took down, who can take down Binance? Why would our government take down Binance? I don't know why. Why would we do that? Right? It's these foreign actors that wanted to stop this whole crypto thing in its tracks. You cannot have a global surveillance state with Monero and Zcash and Bitcoin. Right? You cannot get outside the system. You cannot get outside the system. What's the system? Larry from Oracle. That's the system, right? It's like, you want to walk into your church and have a statue of this guy and Sam Altman and, that's where their heads are at. Where's your head? Where's your head at? Well, I know where your head is. Your head is in your melting bags. But how about, Patreon this morning? I was like, I ran off a list of coins. Like, hey, let's get a model. It's like, okay, let's talk about what's done decent since Thanksgiving. It's just like yesterday, we had the 10 forgotten altcoins. Like, anybody remember Aave? When was the last time you heard Aave or Uniswap or QNT or Chainlink? When was the last time anyone talked about this? You can have Larry or you can have Chainlink. Which would you like? And the thing that's funny is you're going to get Chainlink. I'm just going to pull the chart up while I'm talking. You're going to get Chainlink at, drum roll, $12. Like, Chainlink is still basically almost on top of its discount zone on LuxAlgo. The high in August was 27. 27. Now, like I said, communist intelligence agencies marked it down more than 50% for you. Incredible, right? I mean, Chainlink is going to connect the whole world. Nobody has to own Chainlink for Chainlink to do it. Chainlink's going to give XRP a run for their money, and XRP is probably going to give Solana a run for its money. I know that's shocking, but, I mean, if no one's trading on Solana and nobody's trading on XRP Ledger, then it's anybody's game. Now, of course, the Solana people are going to lose their mind because, they've got internet capital markets. And man, that's catchy. I'll tell you what. That is, I mean, if all we got in crypto is catchy, Solana still wins on catchy with, they've got Kyle Samani from Multicoin Capital, with the personal trainer and the suit and the whole deal going, yeah, Solana, internet capital markets. And I'm like, yeah, guys, you go. Galaxy Digital's got the same thing going on. One thing I forgot about the Solana lawsuit is buy the FUD. That used to be the old trade. It was the Gensler trade, right? Those are good old days. Buy the FUD. The market went up because it was FUD. And then everything became legal. And then everything went straight down. Straight down. You got to choose what you focus on in this market, right? There's broken charts, Christmas ruined, I feel worse than COVID, 1987, 2008, all put together. Or we could find the reason that we're actually here. If you find the reason you're actually here, and then you just turn the page of the playbook from the apocalypse over to something interesting, you might be like, did you know in 1976, the last time we had a birthday for America? Did you know that there was a currency crisis? I had no idea. There was a problem with the British pound. And the Bank of England could not stop the pound from falling versus the dollar. And they had to go through $5 billion, which is 1976 money, right? It's a lot of money. $5 billion in foreign exchange reserves trying to defend sterling. And it was so epic that they had to go to the IMF, the people who rescue, the emerging market world. Yeah, they had to go to the IMF and get a $5 billion emergency loan. And of course, who funds the IMF? We do. They had to get a $5 billion loan to replenish their foreign exchange reserves so they could continue to defend sterling. Now, of course, the Japanese have got the exact same problem. They think they can stop the yen from moving lower by raising rates, which wrecked their bond market, which probably wrecked crypto too. Stupid, right? This old thinking doesn't work, but history will repeat itself. So if you had a currency crisis in a foreign country in an American birthday year, great. I mean, they're having a UFC fight at the White House for the 250th anniversary of America. Now, that sounds like Fall of Rome type stuff, gladiators. But this history is going to repeat itself. And I got this huge 20-minute video, and it's this huge thing in the platinum area in Patreon. This is going to happen. It's not just 1976 either. It's not. There's earthquake years. I mean, Gann starts the book out by, telling you that the main character's birthday was in 1906. So for us right now, that'd be the 120-year cycle, which, some Gann engagement farmers and some really smart researchers are talking about, but can't be a coincidence that Gann has the main character's birthday at 1906. That was the year of the San Francisco earthquake and the year preceding a panic in the stock market in 1907. That was kind of like one of the first memorable giga crashes in stonks. So, I mean, it's natural as we preview our research for everybody to want to talk about, the repeat of what's the earthquake next year. Well, I mean, my vote is the Japanese 10-year note. That's my vote, but maybe there's something new out there. Maybe there's something new. Whatever it is, when it's over, or when people realize that, oh my God, I got to have crypto, this boring, falling, listless, no volatility in Bitcoin. Yeah. That's all going out the window. My final note is this. Does anybody remember how excited you were at this time last year? I mean, this time last year, Christmas, I mean, we were literally on the dawn of the new age of crypto. And now it's the abyss. The abyss. So where are you going to be at this time next year? Well, if you play your cards right, you do whatever tax law selling your accountant wants you to, but you figure out a way to stay in the game. Stay in the game. I got a phone book full of stay in the game. Yeah, okay, yeah. I know the chart's broken, right? I know everybody's MACD is busted. I get it. Okay. But a busted MACD is not a reason to be out of the market, because time in the market is better than timing the market. You don't want to time, a 3x levered trade with the rent money. But you do want to seriously think about what happens if all the consensus thinking today is proved massively incorrect as early as March, right? In other words, maybe the bears are going to have their last gasp now. Maybe they're going to have it in February, but they will have your last gasp in 3 months. And then when that happens, you get a Bitcoin upside target that no one will talk about. No one will talk about it. I mean, they wanted to talk about it last year. I was like, oh my God, Bitcoin's going to 450. And we were all like the Muppets on the Muppet Show. Now, if you talk about 450, or if you even publish a headline that says buy the dip, you're an idiot. I'm okay. I'm okay with being an idiot, because I should have been an idiot last year by going, hey, wait a minute. Maybe they're not going to keep all these promises. That's what Toby said. I should have listened. YouTube member podcast coming up later. Patreon now fully stocked with Gann research and altcoin ideas. Check it out. We'll see you tomorrow.